Great. So, AWS Cloud Technical Essentials, Day 1. So, I already introduced myself. So, here we go. Okay, so today's learning objective, we will be getting into AWS history, how everything started, how they started delivering their cloud computing services. Then we will get into security model. So how the responsibility in cloud they are divided among the providers and the subscribers, that is the customer. And then we will quickly get into the global infrastructure, right? So what is the what all say resources they have globally, right, across the globe. So this we will be seeing today. So without any further delay, let us quickly get started. So history and evolution, of AWS. So the story of how, Amazon redefined computing. So the core services launched, in 2006, right? So that is Amazon S3, Amazon SQS, Amazon EC2. So later on, we will be getting into deep, into all these services, but how they started, let us first get into that. So Amazon S3 is their simple storage service. It is a basic storage service where we store our data, right? So the industry standard for object storage, with 11 nines of durability. So it is highly durable storage service. That means if you store your data in Amazon S3, their devices, their cloud platform, so your data will be you can say that you will have access even after 1000 years, right? So that is how much durable their storage service is.
Mm,
And they also hosted another service, that is Amazon SQS. So this is simple queue service that is fully managed message queue service. So it is for microservices, right. So again, when we are dividing say components of an application into multiple services, and we are hosting them as a separate service, or we say microservice, right? Now to connect these services together, using we can use these SQS service to deliver message from one service to another service, right? So they started hosting with Amazon SQS in 2006. Then after some time of launching these two services, S3 and SQS, so they started hosting Amazon EC2, right? So this is again a very popular compute service, the full form of this acronym is Elastic Compute Cloud. Right. So this is basically their virtual machines, the servers that actually we generally create, right? These are virtual machines, virtual servers, right? Just like what we are actually using, say we are using our laptops, our desktops, right? These are virtual, say we can say our laptops, right? A desktop in the cloud. So right. So these are resizable, compute capacity in the cloud, launched shortly after S3s. So they launched EC2 after launching their S3 service, their storage service. So this is what they started with, right? These we can say three services, right? Then now the current scale of AWS, they have more than 200 fully featured services available, for their users. So global market leader, definitely AWS is leading the cloud providers. So the cloud industry, it provides highly reliable, scalable, and low cost infrastructure platform, in the cloud that powers hundreds and thousands of businesses in over 190 countries, across the world.
mm,
So that is the scale of AWS now, right? So they are they grown into a giant, providing services or cloud services across the globe. right? With over right 200 services. So definitely when they started in 2006, right, it is just we can say 2 and 3 services they started with, and now right in 2 decades they grown into right more than 200 services, right, and global leader, right. So definitely, right, the cloud platform, right, it grew, right, in a huge way, right, in these 2 decades, and definitely, right, IT is reshaped, right, with these cloud computing, right, service providers, right. Generally, we call them CSP, right, cloud service providers. So, as you already said, right, you have some idea, right? You know, right, the say providers like Azure, GCP, right? We have IBM Cloud, right? We have Alibaba, right? So there are many more, right? So these are the top, right? If we talk about top three, we have AWS, Azure, and then GCP, right? So definitely, if you learn right, if you focus on in right, say one of the provider, right, then you can move into the others, because once you get the idea, right, okay, how things are happening, right, within one of the right service provider, it is generally the same thing actually, right, that you need to know. But just right, what they are doing is they are just calling the services right with different names. So once you right remember, once you know right what they are for, then definitely it will be easier for you to right say switch to another provider, right? So it will not take much time. But right now, right, we will be focusing on AWS. So what is cloud computing? Right, very important question, right? So defining right what is right on-demand delivery of IT resources. So basically, when we say right cloud computing, it is on-demand delivery, right, of what? Of IT resources like power, databases, storage, right, applications, right. So these are available over the internet, right? These are accessible over the internet. And when we say on demand, that means if I need it right now, I will have it right now. I don't have to wait for, say, weeks or months to access them, right? So generally, what happens, right, in on-premises model, right? So when you said, right, you manage databases, right, and those are hosted locally, right, in the data centers. So that is right what we call on-premises data center, right? We have our data own data center. Now, when we are hosting, right, say our services, right, from our own data center, and definitely if we have, right, if we got a requirement, right, of say new server, so definitely, right, it is not possible to get a new server right away, right? Within minutes, it is not possible, right? So we need to wait for certain time, right? We need to wait maybe for days, for weeks, and even months, right, based on the requirement, right? So it will go through so many right different say approval channels, right? So it will take time. But here in cloud, right, everything is on demand. So if we want to host, say, a new server, we will just go to right the service, say EC2, and we will configure it and we will create it. It will take minutes to launch it, right? It will just take, say, 1 or 2 minutes to deploy our server, right? And it will be available right away, right? So that is on demand. We can access them when we need it, right? We don't have to wait. And definitely they are accessible via internet, right? So we need to access them over internet, right? Right. Cloud computing, right, basically it is on demand delivery, right, of IT resources over the internet, right. And that is why right when we say AWS, right, Amazon Web Services, right, web services, in the sense it is accessible over the web, right, internet, right. And the important thing, right, and we can say the most important advantage, right, of cloud services, right, or cloud computing is pay as you go pricing, right. So the resources or the services that we will be actually right accessing, we only need to pay for what we use, right? So when we use them. So if we are not using them, we don't pay, right? So eliminate, right, the need of high upfront capital investments like capex, right, and right, we trade it for variable expenses like the opex, right, our operational expenses, right? So now if we think about, right, our on-premises data center, so definitely to set up that data center, we need to invest, right, a lot of money, right? So there is huge upfront cost, right, for setting up and right, having all those say servers and right, all those equipments inside that data center. So it is a huge investment, right? But cloud is offering us, right, service, right, with pricing that is pay as you go. That means you need to pay for what you use, right? So if you are using, say, one server, you need to pay for one server. If you're using five servers, you need to pay for five servers. And again, if you're using for, say, just 1 hour, you need to pay for 1 hour. And after that, maybe you just, right, you don't have any right more requirement for that, so you just get rid of that machine, right? You just delete that, right? So you don't have to pay once you are right, you are done with that, right? Once you delete it, gone. You don't have to pay, you will not incur, right, any other cost on that, right? So you pay for what you use, right? You don't have to, right, you don't have any upfront capital investment here, right? So we are trading it for operational expense. Definitely the operational expenses are, right, that we are incurring, right, for our day-to-day, right, task, right? We are, right, say creating, right, whatever we are deploying, we are just paying for that, nothing else. So then getting right to the missed five essential characteristics of cloud computing, right? So this is again national, right, standards of standard technology, right? National Institute of Standard and Technology. So the five essential characters that they, right, have for cloud computing, right, is on-demand self-service, right? So it is provision, right, services without human, say, interaction with the provider. So definitely, if we are automating, right, things, right, in cloud, so they will create and, right, manage resources, right, and say updates and upgrades, right, automatically without human interference, right? That is on demand self service, right? Then broad network access, definitely available over the network through standard mechanism, right? So we can integrate these cloud resources, right, with third party resources, right, through APIs and, right, different service integrations, right? Third, we have resource pooling. So this is again very important, right? Where providers resource is, right, serve multiple customers or consumers, right, using a multi-tenant model. So definitely these when we talk about AWS, when we talk about Azure, when we talk about GCP, these are public cloud, right? These are public cloud. So anybody, right, can have, right, their account and they can access their resources, right? So definitely the resource that we are accessing, right, say it is shared, right? It is shared, right, across all the users, right? So definitely when I say, right, for example, we are launching our virtual server. For that we will go to, right, I would say EC2 service, and then we will be configuring it. Now definitely that virtual server that we will right, get, it is running on a physical host, right? Physical host, right, in say AWS in their data center, right? And that physical host is being shared, right, by multiple user. That is multi-tenant model, right? So there are a lot of user, right, accessing, say, that same machine, right? So that is how, right, they are offering, right, their cloud services. It is, right, multiple, right, customers using those same machines, right? And later on when we will get into, right, more say advanced topics, right, we will discuss that, okay, what are the advantages and disadvantages of that, right? So definitely there are a lot of advantages, but definitely when we talk about right security from security side, right, what all the things that we need to keep in mind, right, when we are actually right launching our resources. So that we will discuss right in more advanced topics.
mm,
So for now, right, we are into the foundation. So we will be right sticking to the right what is cloud, right?
mm. Sure.
So, rapid elasticity, right? So, this is again, right, resource can be elastically provisioned and released, right, to scale rapidly. So, definitely, you can, right, scale, right, up or down. You can go, right, you can scale out, you can scale in. That means if you need, right, say 10 servers, you can deploy 10 servers. Suddenly, right, maybe you have a requirement, there is a huge demand, right, for your resources, right, and you need to scale to say 1000 servers, right? Definitely in cloud, right, it will take you minutes to deploy 1000 servers, right? And that is the elasticity. And definitely, right, maybe your demand, right, it fall right down, and you need to get rid of those 1000 resources. Maybe out of 1000 you need to cut 500 of those servers, right? So that is instant, right? You just delete those 500 servers and you stop paying for them, right? That is elasticity, right? It is just like that elastic, right, band that we have, right? We just stretch it and we contract it, right? So we have that control, right?
Okay. Mm,
So, measured services again, right? Resource usage, right, is monitored and reported, right, for transparency and billing. So, whatever we are using, right, we are getting everyday bill, right? Our billing dashboard will get updated, right, for whatever we are using, and it will be bifurcated, right, across the different regions, right? Okay, in this particular region, how much you, right, your resources costing. Here in this resources, which all services are costing you how much, right? So that transparency is there right in the billing, right? Then getting into right the cloud service models, right? This is very right important. Models in service models we have IaaS, PaaS, and SaaS, right? So IaaS, PaaS, and SaaS. So IaaS is for infrastructure as a service. So here the focus right of customer is managing the servers, storage, networking, right? So in right, we can say that here with infrastructure as service, the customer need to manage a lot of things, right? So it is, we can say, customer managed, right, service, right? So the services that fall under infrastructure as service, so here customer will have greater access to configure the right say a resource, right? They will
okay.
have higher control, right, for the configuration,
Mm,
right? So for example, we have Amazon EC2, right? Our Elastic Compute Cloud, right? Cloud compute. So this is right a service where we have, right? We can select that, okay, what operating system we need, right? We can just select that, right? So
mm,
what will be the middleware? What will be the runtime, right? What application will run, right? What data I will host, right? So everything I can, right? What will be the networking configuration? What will be the storage, right? We can select everything, right, for this service, right? Who can access it, who cannot access it, right? We can do all these things, right, with this. So we
mm,
have greater access or control, right, over the service. Then when we move into the next one, that is PaaS or platform as a service, here the customer focus is managing the application and data, right? Not the underlying resource, right? So here, when I say the underlying resource, that means you don't have to manage the operating system, right? You don't have to manage the middleware or anything, right? So
okay.
what you need to focus is you need to focus on the application that you are deploying and the data, right? So here, for example, you have right your elastic beanstalk, right? Again, what right it does is you can just upload your application code, and based on your code, you need to select the runtime. Okay, maybe it is right a Python application that you want to deploy. You need to select right the runtime as Python, maybe Python right 3, and then you just deploy. automatically, right, AWS, right, will decide that, okay, right, what all, right, say, resource it needs to deploy your resource, and it will deploy it. You don't have to think about, right, that, okay, what operating system I need to choose, right, for to deploy this particular application. That will be controlled and managed by the service provider. We don't have to take that headache, right? So here definitely, right, our control will be reduced, right? Because we are moving into more managed service,
Okay.
right? So then coming to the third one, we have software as a service. So here, the customer focus is using the end product, right? So definitely here, the customer, right, they don't have to worry, or they don't have to think about the configuration of their, right, say, resources, right? The underlying resources will be managed, configured by the service provider. So
Okay.
what the customer will do is they will just use the product, right? So like here we have, for example, Amazon Work Mail, right? So the right business email service, right? So they will just use, just like, right, how we use, right, Gmail. So we
Mm.
are not configuring it, right? We don't know, right, that, okay, on which operating system it is running. We don't care,
Just using it.
right? It
Mm-hmm.
is managed, right? It is managed by the service provider. So we are just accessing it, right?
Okay. Mm.
It is just like that. So here we have, right, less control, right? Because it is a fully, we can say, fully managed service, right?
Mm.
So on top infrastructure as service, right, we have higher control, then our control is reducing, and then here for software as a service, we have least control, right?
Yes.
Okay, great. So
Before moving to next
yes,
slide,
please.
sorry, do you want me to interrupt you anytime or just raise my hand if I have a question?
Yeah, no problem. You can ask, you can stop me, right?
Okay, sure.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's clear. The infrastructure as a service, the PaaS and the SaaS. So that PaaS, so you said if you want to deploy code, we don't have to
Hmm.
worry about the operating system, the resource background. So
Yes.
the code that we want to, or the application that we want to launch. So
Hmm.
if there's no option to choose whether we want to run it on Linux or Windows, we don't need to
Hmm.
care about that. Is that what you mean?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay. So there's no option
So
to select maybe, oh, my application.
yeah, you
I want
can
to
actually.
run it
So
on. Okay. Go ahead.
yes, yes. So here for platform as a service, right, it is depending on your application, right?
Okay.
So if you want to select, there is a manual override, right? So again,
Okay.
for elastic beanstalk, right, you will get that option. Okay, if you want to change that, right? So then you can actually select it,
Okay.
right? But again, there are other services. Say in past, right? Say we have a service called Lambda, right?
Okay.
So
Lambda.
it also, right, it will also say deploy, right, your application, but
Okay.
right. So
So
there
we have
actually
option
you
to
you will
select
not
the
have.
operating system. We have option to select
Mhm.
the operating system that we want for our application. Okay.
Mm,
But for
yes,
infrastructure as a service, we have to install the operating system by ourselves. Is that what you mean?
yes. The for
Uh,
infrastructure as service, we need to select, right? We need to select which operating system we need.
okay. So, but what
Right?
about
Yeah.
for pass? Do we need to select for pass as well?
No, no, no. It is
Oh,
not
okay.
required. It
It's
will
not
be
required.
managed. Yeah,
Oh,
it is
okay.
not
Okay.
required. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. It's clear now. Okay. And the
Okay,
SaaS as
great.
well is clear. Okay. Can you give
Great.
me another example for SaaS as well? Yeah, I understand that Gmail. Yeah, which is true.
Hmm.
Any other
We have
example?
Dropbox. We have Dropbox.
Okay, Dropbox. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, we have, right, our Drive, Google Drive. These are all SaaS services.
Okay. So
Right.
any application that we're just using, but we did not configure it, we did not launch the application, but we're just using the
Yes.
services, like a
Yes.
login into our bank account online, just log
Yes.
in to
Yes.
manage any
Definitely.
application. Oh, okay, okay. Thank you.
Correct.
Okay,
Correct.
it's
You
clear
got
now.
it.
Okay.
Great. Great. All
Bye.
right. So moving to the next one, global cloud, right, market share. So here we can see, right, how AWS is leading, right, the global market with 31% of the share, market share, right? Then followed by Azure going for, right, 24%. Then We have Google Cloud that is right around 15%, and all other providers taking up the last rest 30% of the share, right? So there are hundreds of other providers. So combining all those, it is 30%. So definitely the number is looks bigger, right? But definitely it is being say distributed, shared by hundreds of other providers. So that will be very less than even 1%, right, if we see in that way. So
Question, please.
AWS. Hmm.
So in the cloud market, so is
Yeah.
AWS that first launched their cloud in 2006? Is
Yes,
that
2006.
so? That was when the other
And
shareholders or other
Azure.
market. Okay, Azure as
Yeah,
well.
Azure, they launched in 2010.
Oh,
Right.
okay. Another as well. Okay, 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 good. So AWS is the first. Okay,
Yes,
cloud.
they are the one, they started, right? So then
Oh, so
getting into.
Google Cloud was launched before Azure.
Yes, yes.
Ah, okay. So, so Azure take over Google Cloud. Okay,
Yeah,
thank you.
definitely. Yeah, Nelson, we need to understand, right, that Azure, right, they already have a huge market, right? The Microsoft, right?
Yeah.
So they already had a great, huge market with their servers, their operating system, right? So they
Oh,
know
okay.
actually, right? So they already have their customers. So
Mm,
right, what they need to do is they just need to give them, some discount, right, in some other ways, right,
okay.
for licensing and everything, right? So definitely the way they acquired, right, the customers, it is lot easier actually for them.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Yep. Yep.
It's clear now.
Yeah. That is the reason, right? Azure ahead of Google.
Yeah, I even thought more companies use Azure more than AWS. I was thinking right now.
No,
So
AWS is
AWS
actually
is
on
still leading.
top.
It's still leading. Oh,
Yes,
okay.
yes, still leading.
Okay, good. Good to know.
So then getting into AWS fundamentals, shared responsibility, pricing, right, and core values. So when we talk about the shared responsibility model, right, here it is, right, who is managing what, right? So who is responsible for what? So security of the cloud, right, is the responsibility of the cloud service provider, right? So AWS is responsible, right, for protecting the infrastructure that runs all their services, right? So like hardware, software, and the facilities, right? All the data centers that they are managing, right? So say security those to those data centers are responsibility of, right, AWS, right? Customer will not go and secure their premises, right, their data centers. So the softwares that they are running on their hardware resources, right, their servers, their physical servers, their network devices, right, all those hardware equipments that they have, right, all their cooling machines, right. So it is responsibility of, right, the service provider to secure and keep those services running, right. And then what is the responsibility of the customer? It is the security in the cloud. So when we say security in the cloud, that means it is, right, customers are responsible for what they are doing inside the cloud, right? That means like patching, right, the guest operating system, configuration, right, of the firewalls, like security groups, and managing the data, right? Say managing data, right? Encryptions, right? So when we say guest operating system, definitely it is the operating system that we are getting for our, say, virtual machine, right? So our virtual machine, right, they have their own data, right, say operating system. So whenever there is a new update, new patch available for that, right, operating system, we need to, as a customer, we need to update that, right. AWS will not update, right, the patches or, right, any upgrades for our virtual machine, because it is our responsibility, right, as a customer. So we need to secure, right, we need to configure the firewall, right? That okay, who will have access to our resources, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we need to control, right, that traffic, right? And then definitely the data that we are storing, the data that we are handling, right, and we are moving and processing, right? The encryption of that data is responsibility of the customer, right? So definitely if there is a data breach and maybe your data is right, maybe it was not encrypted, so definitely, right, AWS will not take any responsibility for that or any accountability for that,
Okay.
right? Because if right, if you just write to them, right, over any support, right, if you right create a case, so what they will do is they will share you a big document, right, where it will be right clearly mentioned that the security in the cloud, right, is customer's responsibility. That is what they will do, right? They will give you that right document mentioning right whose responsibility is what, right? So that is right the shared responsibility model in cloud.
Okay.
Then getting into the pricing philosophy, right, and the free tier. So as we already right we saw that here we need to pay for what you use, right? So pay only for what you use, right? Nothing else, right? So no minimum commitments or long-term contracts. Pricing is tiered, so you pay less per unit as you grow. So definitely when we say right no minimum commitment, right? So definitely it is not right mandatory, but there are right ways actually how you can right commit, right? That okay, I will right I will use 10 servers, right? So you can actually do that, right?
Mm.
You can commit. So for your commitments actually you need to pay less. Okay, there is a huge discounts for right say we call them reserved instances, right? In AWS we have reserved instances. So if we are reserving say 10 instance, that is the servers, actually the instances here, right, they are actually our virtual machines. So when we say 10 servers, right, so we are saying, okay, we will reserve. And the reserve, right, to reserve, you need to reserve for at least 1 year, right?
Mm.
1 year, you have two options, 1 year or 3 year. You don't have option for two, okay, one or three. So if you go for, say, I want to reserve 10 instances or 10 virtual machines for 1 year, you will get greater, right, discounts, right? Up to 70% discount actually, right? It is a huge discount actually, right? So when we reserve, because you are giving the commitment that okay, you will be using, right? So in that case, what happens is even if you're not using them, right, you need to pay. So that is the thing. Even if you're not using, you need to pay because you reserved that capacity, right? So AWS will not give up, right, that capacity to any other, say, user, right? It is reserved for you anytime, 24 by 7.
Okay.
Anytime you can come and you can access it. So then when we say pricing is tiered, right, say for our storage service, right, just what we saw, right, S3, our simple storage service. So when you are using, right, say 1 GB of space, so definitely it will be billed monthly. You need to pay, right, for what you are using. That means you are using, right, 1 GB space, you pay for 1 GB.
Okay.
Say then they have right different tiers, right? Okay, so if you are using right up to 100 GB, you need to pay say five, for example, right, to say $5 right per GB, for example, right, $5 per GB. But when you are using right say between 100 GB and 200 GB, right, you need to pay say $2 per GB. That is tiered, and that is right you pay less when you are growing actually, right? You are using more, right? So per unit cost will go down as you right use more, right, of their resources, particularly right when we talk about these storage service, right? Then we have AWS free tier, right? So AWS free tier offers right to the user, right, always free, right, services. So definitely always there are few services that will be always free, right? We never need to pay for them. It is always accessible, always free. Then we have a 6-month free tier plan, right? So that is in tomorrow's session. Actually, we will be right creating one. Right, Nelson, do you have a free tier account already?
Yes, yes.
Okay, wonderful, great. Okay, so when did you create that?
Um, it's been long. I don't
It's
really
been
use
long.
it. Yeah.
Okay.
Almost like 5 years, more than 5 years now. But
Oh,
I
oh my
barely
God.
use it. I barely use. Yeah, I don't really use it.
Okay, okay.
So
Then
well, I've
it is
already
actually.
put my credit card.
Mhm.
I put my credit card
Mhm.
so I can launch pay
No,
as
no,
you
no.
go for it.
Don't use that account anymore.
Oh, okay.
Don't
Oh, okay.
use it because it is no more free tier eligible, right?
Yeah, that's
So
correct. Yeah.
whatever you use, right, you need to pay for that. So
Oh,
currently,
okay.
what is going on, right? If you create new accounts, so you will get 6 months free tier access, right? Where you will be getting credit of around initially you will be getting $100 credit, and then you will be getting another $100, right? After launching few services, right?
Okay.
So total
So I need to
$200.
create using another email. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, a different email. Yeah,
Okay, different email. Okay,
other
sure.
email.
I will do that. Okay. Mm.
Sure, sure, no problem. Okay, so we can do that right in tomorrow's session because tomorrow we will be getting into the practical, right? We will be setting up the account and we will follow, right, the best practice of AWS, right? And then coming right to the other one is short-term trial, right, services. That is again, right, a few of the services, if you, right, say if you start using them, that will be free for first 30 days, first 60 days, like that, right? So,
Mhm.
so that new user, right, they can come and they can explore, right, these services. So this is what right they are offering, and definitely once you are out of free tier, right, you need to pay for whatever you are right deploying, whatever you are using, right?
Mhm.
So when you will be creating it, right, you just select right as individual and right the support plan, right, will be basic plan. Okay, it will be basic free tier plan. Okay,
Sure.
so yeah. Yeah. Then the value proposition, right, of AWS, definitely, right, the agility, right, that is what, right, they are, right, experiment, right, and innovate more quickly. So definitely, so Nelson, say you want to set up, right, R&D center, right? So definitely for R&D center, right, the compute power that you need, right, it is huge, right? You need, say, you're doing some, right, uh, maybe research on vaccines,
Mhm.
right? You are trying to figure out right new vaccines and new patents. Definitely, you need supercomputers, right, to compute right all these right different say sequences, right? And if you go right by the traditional approach, right, where you need to set up your own R&D center, you need to have that supercomputer in your premises. Definitely, it will cost a lot of money, lot. But here in cloud, you just right if you want right a supercomputer, definitely you can just deploy right a huge right machine right right virtually, right. And you just pay for how much right you are using. So if you're using it for 1 hour, right, maybe you have right a plan, and then you just do it right, process it, and then just done. You can close it, right? With hundreds of dollars actually, right, you can just do it right instead of say investing millions of dollars, right?
That's correct.
So definitely huge cost savings, right? So trading capital expenses for variable expense, so you don't have to go for all those initial right advanced right advanced payments, upfront costs, right? All those capital expenses you only pay right for what you are using. So everything is variable expense, right, for us now in cloud. Elasticity as right again, so stop guessing for capacity, right, scale up or down automatically. So whenever you need right you have higher right demand, you just expand. Whenever you have low demand, you just contract, right, delete unwanted right resources. You don't have to guess, right? So when we go for auto scaling, right, we can scale automatically based on demand, right, or based on other, right, thresholds. So we don't have to guess. But for our data center, when we are deploying our data center, we need to guess for the capacity, right? That okay, so we need, right, 1,000 servers because of this, right, demand, right? We need 500 servers because of this, right? At say peak seasons, we need, right, to add more resources. So here in cloud, we don't have to do that, right? We don't have to guess that capacity because resources will be automatically scale, right, up or down, right, based on demand.
Mm,
And definitely go global in minutes. So deploy your applications worldwide, right, in just clicks, right? You don't have to wait. You don't have to, right, set up your data centers in, right, a foreign land, right? So here you can go global. You can deploy your application anywhere in the world within minutes,
mm,
right? So that is a greater advantage of cloud computing. So when we talk about the security and the compliance pillars, so it gives definitely inherit global security benefit, right, from a network and data center architecture, right, built to meet the requirements of most security sensitive organizations. Definitely. So right, if Google is right, say trusting, right, these providers, if Microsoft is right, trusting these, right, cloud service providers, they are hosting their applications, right, in those servers. So definitely the security standard, right, for these service providers are, right, at top level,
mm.
right? So definitely for any startup also, they don't have to hesitate, right, or right, think twice to or start, right, with these service provider, right? So definitely they are getting inherit, right, global security standards. Compliances, again, AWS supports, right, more security standards and compliances, right, certifications than any other, right, offerings, including PCI DSS, HEPA, right, GDPR. So definitely these are, right, global standards, right, for say PCI DSS, right, this is to store your credit card, right, your informations, right? So HEPA, so again HEPA for your healthcare data, GDPR for European Union, right, for their residents, right, data sharing. So it, right, laid out all the restrictions and right, rules and regulations for, right, handling such data. So definitely these service provider, right, they are compliant to all these, right, global standards, right? So there are many more, there are thousands of other, right, compliances that actually they are following, right? Then the data ownership, so you maintain,
Um,
right, the full ownership, right?
sorry,
uh,
question.
yes, please.
Um, I think I have a basic knowledge of compliance. So just to have a deep knowledge, so that's the purpose of this
Great.
training.
Hmm.
So if you say compliance, does it mean, I
Hmm.
mean, it's like to adhere to government rules or something. So if you say
Yes, you are
compliance,
correct.
is it like how we protect our data? Is that right? The different
Ye-
ways to meet up with the government rules and
yes, yes,
regulations.
when
Is
you
that
say
correct?
compliances, that is correct, that is correct.
Okay.
So
Okay. Different
definitely,
ways. Okay.
yes, you are correct. So, for example, when I say, right, AWS service, right, say S3, right, the
Okay.
simple storage service, if we say this service is HEPA compliant, right? So that
Okay.
means you can store, right, your healthcare, right, your say customer, right, patient data, right, in S3 because it is HEPA compliant,
Okay.
right?
Secure.
And definitely, right, uh, and that is also right. Otherwise, what will happen, right, is government, right, they will be right coming after you, right? How you can right, say store data, right, in services that is not compliant to these, right, rules and restrictions, right, compliances,
So how does
if they are not
the
compliant.
how does it comply? Does it mean the compliant? Does it mean okay when we store it in S3, we've already
Hmm.
protected the data in S3, so it's not visible to anybody anyhow. Is that so? That's how it's met the compliance
No, it
rules. Is
is
that right?
meeting the compliances based, right, on the actually how they are hosting the service and how they are storing it, right?
Oh, okay. That is
So
secure. Something like
ultimately,
secure. Okay. Okay.
yes, yes, yes.
Oh, okay.
Ultimately, right, as a customer, you need to encrypt your data, Whether right it
Okay.
is healthcare data, you need to encrypt it, right? So including where it is stored and who has access to the data. So data
Okay.
ownership will be always yours, right? You can choose where you want to store the data. But now, when we say, right, okay, I want to store my data in, say, Europe, right, in any European country.
Mm,
Now you need to follow, right, the governance of your country. That can you, right, store the data of these customers, right, or these people from US in Europe? That is now, right, coming into governance, right? That is compliance again, right? So if it is not allowed, right, say by the government, then you cannot, right, store that.
mm,
So before choosing, right, that okay, which right part of the world you will be storing your data, you need to, right, first understand that. Now definitely that the compliance team will be doing that, right? They will be finding out, figuring out, right, okay, what all compliances that they need to follow, right,
mm.
before choosing it. But the ownership will be with the right customer, right? They are the one who will be ultimately selecting, right, that in which part they need to store the data, right?
Okay.
So AWS will not move their data from one region to another region, right? It is the customers, it is under total customers control, right?
Okay.
Okay,
That's clear.
great. Then we have global infrastructure, right, where we have regions, we have availability zones, we have edge locations. So, in global infrastructure, the first one, right, is AWS regions. So these regions are actually, right, physical locations, right, across the globe, right? These are physical locations. So in each region, right, there is no physical boundary of region, right? This is again very important point. There is no physical, right, boundary for AWS regions. These are just geolocations, right? And these regions consist of multiple availability zone, right? So these are again, there are no boundary for availability zone, right? So they have multiple availability zone, right, inside a region. Each region is designed to be completely isolated from any other AWS region. So if you see these dots right here, say, right, blue dots, green dots, right? So say these greens are upcoming and the blues are right already there. Okay, so say this blue dot, right, one of the blue, right, and the other blue dot, right, they are not, right, dependent, or we can say interdependent,
Okay.
right? So if one of the region is going down, it will not impact the other region, the resources in other region,
Oh, okay.
right? But definitely they are connected, right? They are connected but not interdependent.
Mm,
They are independent, right? So this achieves the greatest possible fault tolerance, right, and stability. So definitely that it gives right here fault tolerance. Definitely, if I right lose one of the region, I will still have access to other region resources. So
mm,
it gives that stability. And how you select right these regions, again, right, you have different criteria, right, selection criteria. Here you see compliances, data governance, right, the rules and restrictions, right, of the governments and everything, right?
mm,
And definitely when we say compliances, that we saw, right, or DSS, PCI DSS, right, or HEPA, right, GDPR, we need to select, right, based on all those compliances, whether the service or the region, right, having all those compliances, right, fulfilled or not, right?
mm.
Then definitely latency, that is again, right, how close this region, right, is to your, right, of our customer. And then definitely the cost, right, because right, based on regions, right, the cost varies. There is slight change, right, because of the right, the cost of doing business in different, right, regions. And very important again, the service availability, right? So when we say, right, there are more than 200 services, right, offered by AWS, right? So may not be right, all the 200 services available, right, in all the regions. So need to also check, right, whether the service is available in that region or not,
Okay.
right? Yep. So then we have availability zone. Now, as we saw, right, we are dividing that right region, right, that into multiple availability zone, right?
Sorry, you're not audible anymore. It's not clear.
Am I
Um,
audible now?
oh, okay. I think it's. I can hear you now.
Okay, okay. I don't know why it is
Okay,
breaking.
yeah, right. Yeah. So
Okay,
sometimes I notice if maybe somebody join, so it's clear, but if it drop, so but right now you're audible now.
okay, okay. Great,
Yeah.
great.
Okay. Good.
So, the availability zone, right? So we are dividing the regions into availability zone, right? So for each region, right, we have at least three availability zone, right? We can have more, right? So three or more availability zone, right, for each region. So these are there for fault isolation, right? So now when we say fault isolation, right? So uh, an availability zone, right, consists of one or more discrete data center, right? So inside now these availability zone, we have the actual data center, right? So how many data center? At least one or more, right? So at least one data center we must have, right, inside availability zone. So each with redundant power, right, networking, connectivity, right, and housed in separate facilities. Right now, definitely this is important, right? Redundant power, right? Supply networking means they have, right? They have backups for and backups of backup, right? So if one power supply, right, if gets interrupted, they have, right, the backup. The backup generator will, right? Because we know, right, that the data centers, right, they are up live 24/7. Servers cannot sleep, right? They do, right? So they need to up and running 24/7. So they need that redundant power supply. They need all those networking equipments, right? All everything working 24/7, right? So they have multiple, they have backups of backup, right? So the connectivity also, right? So these availability zones, right? They are interconnected, right? So everything, right? All the availability zone, right? They are connected, right? So all AZs, right, in AWS regions are interconnected with high bandwidth, low latency networking over full redundant, dedicated metro fibers, right? So metro fibers, these are again fiber optic cables only, right? Used to connect, right, all these data centers, businesses together, right? So when we say fault isolation, definitely say I'm launching, right? I'm hosting my services. So I will not create a single server, right? I will create multiple server, right? And to deploy that, right, multiple server, what I will do is I will choose two different, say, availability zone. I will not, right, have both the server in a single availability zone, right? Because if in case of, right, say any say my the entire, say, availability zone, right, if it is going down, it will take both of my servers down, right?
Okay.
I don't want that to happen, right? I want say I will be deploying one of the server in one AZ and another in the another AZ, right? So that even if I lose one availability zone, I will still have access to my resource that
Okay.
is running, and that is fault isolation, right?
Okay. So availability zone is inside region.
Region, yes.
Okay.
And
So
inside availability zone, we have data centers.
okay. Okay. So what about if region is down? It's going to affect all the AZ as well, availability zone?
Definitely, if yes, definitely. If the entire region is down, that means all the availability zone inside it is down.
Oh,
When we
okay.
say region is down, that means all the availability zone, they are down,
Okay.
right?
Although yeah, it's
Yes.
clear to me. Please, can you tell me the difference between region and availability zone? Although it's what we just talked right now. Can you
Yeah.
tell me
So
more difference?
yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. So the region is the geolocation.
Okay.
Okay, it is the
Different continent. Yeah.
geolocation.
Okay. Okay.
And yes, and the availability zone, right, is part of that region. So we have multiple availability zone inside that region.
Okay.
And inside this availability zone, we have actual data centers,
Okay.
one or more data centers inside availability zone, right?
So when we set up a like account, maybe EC2 or something,
Mm-hmm.
so we have option to select Any availability
Yes,
zone we want.
yes, correct.
It's on
We
the
can select
closeness. Okay. It's on
availability
the
zone.
latency.
Yeah,
Okay. Oh, okay.
yep,
Good. Okay.
yep,
Thank you. It's clear.
great, great. And then we have edge locations, right? So, latency reduction, right, with CloudFront. Now, what are these edge locations? Now, definitely these regions and availability zones, right? So, AWS can, right, have them, right, in, say, particular geolocation, right? So, they cannot do that, create these resources or their regions, right, in every city, right?
Mhm.
So now, if you are living, right, say, in a state where they don't have their region, right? So what they will do, definitely the customers who will be connecting to the resource, right? Their request will be actually going to the region where they are deploying their services, right? So if it is far away, so definitely it will take more time, right? So servers will be responding, there will be delay, right? And that delay is called latency. So there will be high latency, right? Now, to reduce this latency, what AWS did, they created a network of edge locations, right? Created a network of edge location. Now, edge locations are also data center that is close to the customer, right? So they reduce the latency, right? And they are part of the CloudFront network, right? So edge locations are part of CloudFront network, right? And CloudFront is CDN, right? CDN, it is Content Delivery Network,
Oh,
right?
okay.
So edge locations are used by Amazon CloudFront to deliver content to end user with lower latency by caching data closer to the user,
Okay.
right? Yep. So this is right what edge locations are for, right? To reduce the latency and improve right the performance of the resource by caching the data close to customer. So now whenever customer will access, right, they will connect to the edge locations, right, instead of the origin. Right, origin is the right say the region where we are actually hosting our service.
Yes. Yes,
Right.
please. Question. If you
Yes,
go
please.
back to the two slide where you show different um zone, yeah, right here. So for example, let's maybe in Africa, yeah, I think I see only two in Africa, one green,
Mm-hmm.
and blue.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay.
the other in the map of the Africa, let's assume I don't know
Mm-hmm.
Egypt. I don't see anything close to Egypt, Morocco. So
Mm-hmm.
there's no region over there. So we can now put edge location there so that
Yes,
it will be close to
there
them
there
since
may
we don't
be
have
there. Yes, correct. Very very good question. Right. So definitely, right. Here
yeah, your
these
audio is
dots,
breaking.
right?
Your audio,
Okay. Is it audible now?
not yet.
Okay. So these dots, right? These are representing regions, right?
Uh,
It says now. Don't go for this one. Okay. So when we will be getting into right details, we will be accessing right the regions and availability zones and everything, right? So in the console itself. Okay. So in tomorrow session we will be getting into right more details. So where exactly they have what, right?
okay, you're audible now. I can hear you very well. Okay, good.
You can hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now. So yeah, as
Okay,
we're talking
great.
about Morocco, Egypt, those
Hmm.
areas close to the. So since we don't
Hmm.
have any region over there, so
Yeah.
it means there we know AZ over there. So we now
Yep.
put edge location close to them. Is that
We
right?
can. Yes, that is
Oh, okay.
correct.
So that
So we
that
can
will
have.
release. Okay, okay. It's
They
clear now.
will
Okay,
improve their. Yeah. They will improve right their experience.
okay. You can move forward. Thank you.
Yes. Great. Great. All right. So now knowledge check. So Nelson, which statement describes cloud computing? So you need to answer.
Sorry, my name is Wilson.
Oh, sorry.
Wilson, yeah.
Wilson, I'm
Okay,
sorry.
thank you. Yeah.
Yes, Wilson.
Uh, okay. Which statement describe cloud computing? Okay. It provides
Mhm.
services under fixed price uh, contract. That's correct. it require customer to maintain their own hardware. So maybe it may depend, it deliver information technology on demand. Yeah, that's it deliver resource to manage data only. Um, yeah, I think everything seems to be correct. It's
Now,
provided
only one option is correct here.
okay, just choose only one. Okay, it provides
Yes, yes,
services
only
under
one, which
okay,
is most closer.
okay, provide under fixed price contract. Okay, customer to maintain their own hardware. Um, so that would be if you're using infrastructure service, yeah, you can manage your own hardware, deliver information, technology, resource on demand. Well, maybe C. Let me just say C.
Great, that is correct. It
Mm,
delivers IT resources on demand.
mm. Okay,
Okay,
which
just
cloud
oh,
service
sorry.
model gives the user more control over IT resource? Yeah, D. More control. Infrastructure as a service.
Yes, that's absolutely correct. Okay,
Um,
it was a shared which is the role, right? Sole responsibility of AWS.
okay. You're not audible. Well, let me just read. Under the AWS responsibility, okay, model, which of the following is the sole responsibility of the AWS, okay? Under shared responsibility model, okay. Um, pass patching the guest operating system, configure security groups, physical security of data center, encrypting client data. When you talk about the shared responsibility, that's like a um, data security that customer have to do there as well. Configure security groups, encrypt client side. Um, I'll just say D, encrypting client side, because when you talk about shared responsibility earlier,
Mhm.
I think you said about is
So
the customer responsible as well for protecting their
yeah,
data or something.
so here it is asking about the responsibility of AWS, right? That is,
Okay.
so
Oh,
definitely
which of the
client side
following
data
is so
encryption is responsibility of the user, the
yeah.
customer.
Yeah. So okay, which of the following is a so responsible? Okay. Patching the guest OS expression. So that may the time depends on the type of model, maybe PaaS or SaaS or configuring
Mhm.
security groups. So if you're using infrastructure as a service, you may need to configure your security group by yourself. Physical data center. Okay, well, physical security of data center. The C. Yeah.
Yes,
So
yes, physical security
because
of the data center.
that's the main for AWS. So because we irrespective of the model we go for, C is the
Yes,
responsible for, yeah. Okay.
yes, yes, that is
Okay, it's clear
correct.
to me now. I understand the question very well now.
Okay, great, great. That is correct. Okay, number four, last one. What is an AWS region?
Yeah, region is single data center located in a specific city, collection of edge location used for content delivery, virtual network. Okay, physical location of the world in the world. Okay, where AWS have multiple delivery zone. Yeah, D. Physical
Okay,
location. Yeah.
s- D,
Yes.
that is correct. Great, you got it.
Mm.
All right, Wilson, you are all done. Okay.
Thank you.